the majority clearly did.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
For him to be the Prime Minister now. And in 4 years, they're going to be running again to try and have Boris Johnson again as the Prime Minister. I don't know, man. It's... If the right people aren't in power, then as much as things have got better for us, they can get worse.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're the ones making all the rules.
Do you think things have got better for us?
Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that...
Who's us, by the way?
Black people.
Okay, so you're specifically talking about black people in this country?
In this country. I can't speak about any other country. I only know about what I see around me.
Your experience, yeah.
Yeah, and I can't talk about any other race personally. I know what I've seen from my own experience as well on other races, but personally, I can only talk about my own race. But even that being a thing...
Well, first of all, before we are black, white or brown...
We're humans.
Right? We are beings of different hues. Human. Hue being, right? But the race that people you're reflected in, and therefore that society shows you as societally you are a black person. People treat you as that. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And only from the side of... I've spoken to a black American who's come here, and she said that being here is the only time where she's felt black first. Felt like a human first. In America, she feels like it's more racial, as opposed to how it is here, where she feels more human first and black second, as opposed to black first.
Yeah, I've spoken to quite a few people from the US, and they said a very similar thing. And to be honest, I just think it's a lack of understanding of how this society works.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the US, racism is a lot more blatant. It's a lot more in your face.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more documentation. There's a lot longer history of racism with Jim Crow, segregation, the fact that the enslavement of African people actually happened on that land. So therefore there's a different relationship with race, which is different to here. Mm-hmm. I always think the US is like the southern part of the US, which is, a lot more ostentatiously racist, and the north, and then the UK is a lot more like the north, where in the north of the US, people would smile in your face, stab you in your back. You won't be able to get a job because of the name, the name, the color of your skin. So therefore, it's a lot more insidious. And so for in the UK, particularly with the relationship with the enslavement of African peoples, having a lot of its stuff happening outside of the UK, there's a kind of under the carpet kind of relationship towards race, which people who are not from the UK will be like, oh, there's no such thing as racism here. Yeah. It's just so not the case.
It's not the truth.
Racism is embedded into the culture and the fabric of this country. The British Museum, the, Fleet Street, everything. Yeah. It is embedded. The fact that the cotton from Manchester, the ports of Portsmouth and Liverpool and Bristol, all of these things have been built up, and then how they use that money to then colonize and India and what they did in China and all of that stuff. So it's so insidious, racism within this UK, that because I like to travel, right? And I coined this term mochila's eyes, which in Spanish means backpacker's eyes. So when I go to another country, I'm like, oh, look at these beautiful buildings, and look at this, it's so peaceful, it's so lovely, these people laughing and dancing, this thing seems so great here. And then you talk to people and they're like, no, it's not great. If you know about this, you know about that, you know about this, and you spend longer there, you're like, oh, okay, you start to see it. And then your mochila's eyes start to dissipate, and you start to see it as it really is. Because you kind of romanticize things.
That's true. It's 100% true. You go away, you're like, well, it's a beautiful country, beautiful people. You kind of, as much as you don't want to forget about race, you do, in the sense of you don't see it, like you were saying. It's not in the forefront of, because that's not what they want to, the picture they want to paint to you.
Oh no, I think it's not. I don't think colorblind is the issue. I don't think anybody should be colorblind. I think understanding or noticing people's culture and the fact that because we are black, we are going to be treated differently to somebody who's white.
Yeah.
Because we're black men, we're going to be treated as somebody different to who is white, a white woman. Those are things we can't escape. I don't think disregarding people's color or their culture is a good thing.
Oh no, of course.
I think celebrating it is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
In one of my poems, I say, different colors on a canvas creates the wonder. The problem is when a color subjugates the other and uses the difference in hues as a tool to divide, used to justify the blight of other types. When one color becomes a symbol of might, it can cause even the greatest of leaders to become blind. And so it's actually celebrating people's different ethnicities that we will find different perspectives and different answers and a much beautiful picture to paint rather than just black and white.
That's true.
No pun included. Yeah.
But no, you're right. If we celebrated ourselves more and where we come from, what do you think of this notion that because I've seen it in, like, if you don't, do you believe that someone who doesn't date within their race, does that mean that they have less love for their own race?
There's two things to go about that. And then I've also got a personal experience of dating outside my race with my ex.
Yeah.
And there's many ways that we can go about it. So, like, as black men, as black people, we've been conditioned to see ourselves as inferior through the advertisement, through the school systems that don't teach us about our culture, but they teach us everything in Britain is great. Everything that black people do is, terrible. The only time we learn about ourselves in history classes is slavery, civil rights. When we look on the media, you see this African child with a fly on his neck and talk about poverty and famine and all of this stuff. So we have been conditioned to view ourselves and black women as ugly, inferior, and everything white is the opposite. Look in the dictionary what white means and what black means.
Yeah, I know.
What light means and what dark means. So there is the condition that we as black people have had where we seek a lot of validation from people outside of our races. I remember the book Slay in Your Lane. There's statistics that say, like, black people in the US, black people in the UK are specifically black men and then black women. They are the highest number of people to date outside their race. What does that say? Then you can also say, I don't feel like just because you date outside your race, it means that, you don't have much self-esteem or you don't see the other person as black, as beautiful, but there is something in that. But then there's also something to say, like, look, at the end of the day, love is love, and that transcends all boundaries of race, ethnicity, creed, sexual orientation, and that should come first.
Yeah.
But then we have to kind of balance things, and we have to put things into perspective and constantly assess. Am I in love with this person because of their hearts? That's what it should be about, I think. Or am I in love with this person because of the validation that I get? Or I'm with this person that makes me feel like this. And a lot of people, that's going to take a lot of work, a lot of digging. A lot of people will be like, I just like this person because this, that, and the other. But yeah, it's a difficult question.
It's true.
Something that needs to be unpicked over many
years.
Yes.
But it's just something that I've always thought about, because I watched I think it was a BBC documentary, short one about it, and it just made me think. I was like, well, I don't know, I've never really thought about it like that, but I just thought that love is love, you know? You don't choose who you fall in love with, so why should it matter? But I mean, I don't have any less self-esteem or love for myself. I love myself so much more. Not because I date outside my race, but I just love myself in general.
Mm-hmm. And it all starts with self-love first, because how can you pour into another's cup if you're empty yourself?
It's true. You can't. And people say, like, the idea of being vain is a bad thing, but why would it be a bad thing to love yourself?
Yeah, I think people confuse vanity with self-love.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, definitely. Self-love is very important.
Yeah,
it's
100%.
not selfish.
No, of course not. You shouldn't feel selfish to love yourself, because you are yourself. You need to... If you don't have it here, you can't give it out.
Exactly. And again, dipping into what we talk about, generational trauma, and how... What's your heritage?
My grandparents are Jamaican.
Okay, so same, likewise. 3 of my grandparents are from Jamaica.
Okay.
My granddad, on my mum's side, mum's dad, was Bayesian.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of the effects of enslavement of our people has had to do with our self-image, our self-esteem, self-love, trust within our community, communication, and those are things that have really been severed. Things that we as a community need to heal.
You mean like stuff like how I feel like, I don't know, black people are the most offensive to other black people?
Yeah, well, we hate ourselves.
Yeah.
That's like a general statement, but there's a lot of truth.
Yeah. When
we look in the mirror, we don't see kings or queens. We see the lowest of the low. We see, and that's not how it should be, but we've been conditioned that way. And it's only through understanding who we are, where we come from, how much rich history we have on the continent of Africa, that we will look at ourselves in the mirror and see beauty, and then we will look at somebody on the street, another brother and sister, and we won't see them as somebody who can hurt me, but somebody who is part of me, who is me.
Yeah. So how do you think that we could kind of combat something like this? Is it because I was having a conversation with my brother the other day about, he said he feels like the notion of Black History Month, do you think that we still need it anymore? Because
well, first of all, we have to understand that Black history is world history. Yeah. So confining Black history to 1 month is quite nonsensical.
It's ambiguous, yeah.
Yeah, because when you look, there's Black history in China, there's Black history in South America, there's Black history in the Aborigines, is Black history. Like,
you know, it's happening every single day.
Right. The biggest number of African or Black people outside of Nigeria is in India. 400,000 people, the Darwinian Indians.
Oh, wow. So
Black history is sprinkled everywhere. And no, I don't think Black History Month covers the amount of time that we need to talk about Black history, because before there is European history, there was African history. Yeah. Right? And we need to go back to Saturday schools. We need to start developing more communal events which are celebrating our culture.
That's true.
And I do think through history, through pride of ourselves and understanding of our togetherness, thank you, that we will transcend the society's conditioning.
I kind of feel like the idea of Black History Month is kind of like Mother's Day or Father's Day, or like, it's just like, it makes you feel like, because now it's November or October, now we must celebrate Black history, but every other month of the year we don't celebrate it. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of like, you're kind of pigeonholed into this month of, okay, right, cool.